AI-powered antivirus app that was designed to evolve with today's threats. It's fast, lightweight protection that works across all my devices without slowing me down. If you need another reason to switch, get this. WebRoot Essentials recently ranked #1 in independent Passmark performance studies against 9 other brands, like Norton, McAfee, and even Microsoft Defender. The study found that WebRoot Essentials scans 6 times faster, uses far less memory, and takes up 33% less space on your computer. I've seen the difference WebRoot has made for my devices, and now you can too. My listeners get 62% off WebRoot Essentials at webroot.com/Kim. Get the #1 ranked antivirus protection for just $19 a year right now at webroot.com/Kim. Webroot.com/Kim. Go now while you're thinking about it. Webroot.com/Kim.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Well, good morning. Happy Thursday to you. The 16th day of April has arrived, which means as of midnight last night, you either needed to have your taxes filed or an extension filed, and hopefully you got both of those or one of those done. Probably not both, right, on the 15th. But it was something that needed to get done. Is the annual clash of the taxes, the fight that many were engaging with, perhaps into the late hours of the evening. Today is the 16th day. The tax season is over. Take a deep breath and relax. Good morning, everybody. Nathan Martin in the studio with you with Stephen Maxwell, who I'm sure got his taxes done on time and has also breathed a sigh of relief because, hey, it's over with and we can get on with living now.
Waiting for my refund.
Are you getting direct deposit?
Yeah.
The only way
takes
to
a
go.
couple days, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I keep forgetting. I always forget every year when something like this happens, and I don't know.
Well, as I've often mentioned, for 20 plus years have filed an extension, and I file mine usually in September. So whenever I file them and get my refund, the only nice thing about that for me is I get my refund later in the year, closer to Christmas. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier for me.
You just want to be difficult and complicated.
I'm not trying to make the life easier of my accountant.
I got
His is the life that is complicated. I was talking to another accountant, I think Monday of this week, and she was just frantic, just
really,
just there's so much work that comes in at the last minute. And I heard a national report. Someone was saying that people expect them to work miracles, and they bring stuff in and they have incomplete information. They expect them to fix it, and they can only work with information they got. But we got some great accountants around, and got the opportunity to use their services. There's also free online services. I have used some of those free online services to help seniors in our church many times file their taxes. I'm trying to remember who I used to use. I've used several. There are several now. The IRS website actually has a site that tells you, and especially for seniors, there are many of those. If your adjusted gross income is below a certain number, then you can use these programs for free. So that's an opportunity that people can take advantage of. Yeah,
I use like a CPA here.
I personally do. Yeah, I use the good folks over. They call them sinlawcpas.com, I believe is their website, but it's the Rozier, Harrington, and McKay. Not to give a commercial. That's just who we've used for many, many years, and they've handled our church finances and pastor returns can be a little complex. We, like military, we receive what's called a housing allowance. Part of the salary is instituted as a housing allowance. And so there's a separate form that needs to be done. And I've found that some of the online tax services can't handle. They'll tell you up front, we don't do clergy returns. Yeah. So because there are some complexities.
We do we actually do the Dave Ramsey tax service.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I don't know why, we just do.
When did you get involved with that? How long ago did you start using that?
Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Did you take the class?
I know Dave Ramsey's program probably forwards and backwards because I love his show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love the call-in show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love those types of shows for everything. It's like there's a religious one where people answer questions, and then the money one. But if I could only follow it, that'd be a different question.
But you haven't actually taken the FPU
Financial
class.
Peace University?
Right.
No, but I don't think I need to. I literally listen to it for years.
I don't know. You say you're not following it. So maybe you need the accountability.
Well, I'm just being an idiot. I know. I already know that. So. No, it's a good service. We like it. And I thought I was going to have to get someone to, because I've always had like the basic standard deduction with the typical like college whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I thought I was going to have to get like a CPA because it was mildly more complicated. And then I called some people and they're like, oh, you got it. So I just figured it out and did it. So
Ramsey Smart Tax.
hopefully they don't come after me.
I hope not.
It's like $100.
Yeah.
But you could do like a $40 version. I just like having the chat available.
That's really handy. It really is. So, and many of them will do, but most of them, probably all of them will do your federal and your state at the same time, which is what you want because you don't want to enter the information
That's what
twice.
theirs does, yeah. We owed the state money this year.
That has happened to me often. I'll get a federal income return and owe the state. So
it's because of the social media stuff, because you don't pay tax. They don't take taxes out when these social media companies pay you. So
yeah,
the state wants their money.
Well, and then I know the state has that little line for if you bought anything and didn't pay taxes on. Thankfully, that doesn't have to get used much anymore because most of the retailers are collecting taxes. But that used to be a big deal, lost revenue for the state.
Really?
Got a caller on the line. Let's go to it. Good morning. You're on Talk Back with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
And if Stephen finds it here for being an idiot, then please share because we all have some problems
I
in
don't
life.
think it's possible.
But don't hold back if you figure out any progress on that. I wanted to say something about the taxes because, we all have to pay them. And in my work, when I was a UPS man, you meet a lot of interesting people. And I had a IRS office open up on my route. And I said, oh, my goodness, I got to go to the IRS office every day, twice a day. Well, I met a guy in there, and they were all pretty nice. They were all very nice to me. I wouldn't have wanted to face those auditors. Now, they were tough. But there was a guy that worked in there, and I'm going to say his name on the air because I want to sing his praise. His name was Jerry White. He was a retired Air Force guy that had a second career with the IRS. And he would take people who had problems and on his own help them. He would go through his wife, Miss Jean. They were a lovely couple. They're still alive, but they're older now and they've had to retire from doing this. But he would have my parents. My dad retired from teaching, and it was kind of complicated with everything, the tax things, and so they got into some trouble because they thought they had paid some things they didn't anyways. And he said, "Oh, tell your mom and dad to come see us." And I'm gonna try not to break up, but they took the talent that he had for working at the IRS, and they helped people with their problems, and they never would let you pay them.
Wow.
We would get them gift cards to their favorite restaurant because we would see them out, but that's all they would take. And they gave my parents so much peace of mind because Jerry knew how to navigate all those things. He would do it through Miss Jean, so it wasn't a conflict of interest. And even after he retired from the IRS, we had a little old lady that worked at UPS, and Miss Shirley said, "You tell Miss Shirley to come see," and they just loved helping people. And I know they could have made thousands of dollars doing this because IRS, what made me think about it was when you were saying how much trouble you caused your accountant. That's a lot of tedious work. And, man, you'd go to their house and they'd fix you coffee and then go in that back room and Miss Jean would get on those taxes. And they just made a life of helping people. They're members at Calvary Baptist Church. And they did it, especially helping seniors and or people that felt like they couldn't pay. And they just love to give.
Wow.
And look, these people are wonderful. And I'm sure there are wonderful people all over the world, but those two I wanted to call out because those two in God's providence I got to know personally. And just, you just say, wow, at people that take the life. They've got the same 24 hours a day that we do. And they just always looking to honor the Lord and serve their fellow man. And so anyways, thanks for letting me speak my piece about Jerry and Jean Wilson. They are great Americans and great patriots and great Christians. So y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Dave. I love those kinds of calls and highlighting heroes among us, right? That's just exciting to hear how people use their talents to serve other folks. So good deal. Great call right there. Coming up on the show this morning, we've got a couple of guests that we'll be dialoguing with at 7:30. We're going to hear from Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. He's got a few things to chat with us about, including Love the Boot Week. But he also wants to talk about open primaries. He has taken maybe the singular position in the statewide government against open primaries, and he'll share his reasons why, and also talk about a state parks photo contest that his office is hosting. And then coming up at 8 o'clock, we'll have folks from the Family Justice Center, and I'm super excited to have them coming in because I have been aware of them, but I've never utilized their services, and I've never even been into their building. So I want to hear about what they're doing. They are having a fundraiser coming up, and we'll talk about that as well. But we want to hear some of the resources they provide and to communities and families. So that's going to be coming up at 8 o'clock.
There's a place in Pineville you haven't been to?
Well, I've been by it, but I haven't been in it. That's correct. I've referred other people to it often, and I've met some of the people that work there, but I've not been inside. So, yeah, that'll be at 8 o'clock. And that photo contest that Lieutenant Governor Nungesser is hosting for the state parks, that sounds interesting. You might make an entry in there because you're always out and about taking pictures and video, mostly video, but you like pictures
I could
too,
try
right?
that. Yeah.
Doesn't no limitations on entry that I know of that would affect you.
All right, I'll try. Hope they take vertical.
Yeah, that's right. That's how you do that.
How I do the videos and the pictures. So.
You had to retrain me because I really am a landscape guy. I prefer, that's just my preference. But it is the world of today. So there were a couple of disturbing things that happened in the community. I'm hearing that some teenagers at Pineville High School were arrested. I saw you had a report on an arrest in Marksville. I want to hold those things off, though, till after 8:30, because I want to be able to dive into that just a little bit and talk about some of the concerns we're having with youth and see if any callers have any questions about that. But before that, some of the best piece of news I've seen in a long, long time is that Stephen Maxwell has arrived. He has arrived.
Greatest moment of my life, probably, besides marriage and a child.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, there is now a flavor of shave ice over at Palmetto's in Pineville called the Stephen Maxwell. They went out of their way to find the Popeye flavor, and that's the name of it. It's not Popeye, it's the Stephen Maxwell.
Stephen Maxwell, parentheses, Popeye. Yeah. Yeah, it's a dream come true for me. We all know how much I love snow cones on this show, and I would say I'm a snow cone aficionado, and I love Palmetto's, and so it's an honor, and I could probably just retire and move on in life.
Right off into the sunset with your shave ice.
I just saw it. I said Palmetto. Is it on my Facebook? It says Palmetto's mentioned you, and usually you get these businesses that mentions you and everybody else. So I just clicked on it, almost didn't, and I was like, "What the heck?"
You about passed out, didn't you?
I had a tear roll down my eye.
Well, I look forward to giving it a shot. I want to try it out and see just how good it is. They make it look good. Look, they went all out with that post. Got 4 pictures there, and
green is a great color too. So I'm happy with that. Green's my second favorite color.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color, Nate?
I'm in the bluish tone, the bluish family somewhere in there. So, all right, we are expecting Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser after the break. We'll be back with After the Bloomberg on this KSYL Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Spirit Airlines may be running out of runway. The budget carrier could liquidate as soon as this week. Spirit's finances have been squeezed by rising jet fuel prices. Sources tell us any decision could come as soon as this week. Spirit has been in ongoing talks with its creditors, and its plans could change. Spirit declined to comment. Checking on the markets, the S&P 500 closed at a record high yesterday. Investors are optimistic about the U.S. and Iran restarting peace talks. However, the Dow fell 72 points. This morning, Wall Street is continuing to watch every geopolitical development out of the Middle East. Stock futures are ticking higher. And the next time you order from the Dairy Queen drive-thru, you might be talking to a chatbot. According to the Wall Street Journal, the chain is expanding a test of an artificial intelligence chatbot to several dozen locations. The chain wants the technology to help speed up service and entice customers to add more food to their tab. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
What's happening at your library this spring? Everything. At Rapides Parish Library, there's something for everyone. We have book clubs, classes, and fun for all ages, all free. Adults, check out our painting classes, gardening workshops, and enjoy a live cooking demo. Kids, you can make slime, learn to draw cartoons, and more hands-on fun. Whatever your age or interest, we've got you covered. Visit your RPL library this spring. We promise you'll find something for you.
Good morning, Chris. Cool. If you're going to be outside at all today, a mostly sunny day. 88 will do it for the afternoon high. Not too much of a breeze today, but we'll see with reality south at about 5 to 10. Tonight, clear skies down to 64 for the overnight low. And on Friday, another sunny, hot day. 88 for the afternoon high. Saturday, got a good chance of some afternoon or early evening showers or thunderstorms. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
It's Talkback 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to Talkback on Tuesday, the 16th day of April. Your taxes have been done. You can breathe, take a big sigh of relief, and then listen to, how about right now, Louisiana's #1 cheerleader, Billy Nungesser, our Lieutenant Governor. Good morning, LG. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Man, we're doing good. It's an exciting day up here in central Louisiana because Stephen Maxwell just had a snow cone flavor named after him. What do you think about that? Is that awesome or what?
Now, that's pretty special. All I have named after, well, not named after me, but I was able to pick the Blue Pelican at a Sonic store, 11 Sonic stores. And once we decided that drink, all the money goes to keep Louisiana beautiful. So, but I'll try to get me a snow cone named after. That's pretty special.
I bet you they'll make the Nungesser. I bet you they'll do it.
That is a great name. You just pull up, you say, I'd like the Nungesser.
I will. I'm going to mention it.
Well, that would be wonderful. Lieutenant Governor, we're so glad you call in, and I love how professional you are. You segue my nonsense comment right back into Love the Boot Week. Just shows how passionate you are for this annual event, which is having a significant impact. Tell us about Love the Boot Week.
Yeah, 5 years ago, I asked the legislature to move Keep Louisiana Beautiful under my office. That year, 54 groups cleaned up around the state. Last year, 1,470 groups in every parish, over 100 schools, 14 university church groups. It's become a movement in Louisiana. And we got new educational tools to teach kids about litter in school, a new video where you get your driver's license to watch. And the reason it's important for everybody to volunteer during Love the Boot Week or any time to pick up litter, if you pick up litter or you get a ticket for litter, you're 80% less likely to litter. And only about 22% of Louisiana's litter, but they litter a lot. They have no regards for throwing stuff out the window. So we're making an impact. It's become a movement. If you don't want to sign up your own group, you can go to the website and then look at a group in your area and join them. Or anytime you can go check out Tongs and Vest at your local library and go pick up litter for a day. And we're also asking everyone with the 250th anniversary of our country for everybody to pick up 250 pieces of litter before July 4th. That's something to Keep America Beautiful conference that we recently held in New Orleans, made a pledge for every state to do that in their own state.
Well, that's exciting, the momentum that's there. We had a guest on yesterday, on the show yesterday morning from the South Alexandria Revitalization Organization promoting their Love the Boot activity coming up on Saturday at 8 o'clock. They've actually been doing this for about 20 years, and they have jumped on board wholeheartedly with what you're doing. I know Mayor Bishop from Pineville was on the show Tuesday. He was talking about Pineville's Love the Boot Week activity, which will be the following Saturday, the 25th, where folks will be gathering at City Hall. They'll be giving out the bags and the pickup tongs and safety vests, and then they're going to head out into the community. And it really feels like people are grasping and just, I don't want to say jumping on the bandwagon, but getting excited about the momentum.
It really is. And I tell you, our sheriffs have been doing a great job across the state. We've purchased, I think, 8 vans that the sheriffs have requested to bring work release prisoners out to clean up. DOTD, DEQ, and Wildlife Fishery have been great partners. DOTD has now hired a company, and they are getting sponsors for highways. It's a little different from Adopt a Highway. What they do is they put up a sign on the interstate. They pay a company to pick up trash in that area once a month. Mm-hmm. You can pick up trash on the interstate once a month. We'll keep them clean. I'm actually adopting the 2 miles on the interstate where I live. And we're going to get some of these people that love the trial lawyers and people that love to advertise. Well, now you can put that money to good use, get a sign up, and then it won't be any tax dollars, and we'll keep all our interstates clean. So we're making great progress. Is that done through your office, Lieutenant Governor? It's done through DOTD. There's a web. You can go to our website and get to it, lovetoboot.org, about adopting a highway. And it'll bring you to where you can hook up with those people that, they'll measure out the mileage. I said, look, I want to do the 2 miles from the Causeway Bridge on I-12 to the exit past my house. And they figured out a price for the signs and what it's going to cost to clean up. And I pay for a 2-year contract to clean up that area. Yeah, that is a great opportunity. And I love how you say they're going to spend advertising dollars anyway. But these advertising dollars do something. That's a great idea. And we don't have to spend tax dollars. That's what I love about it. Anytime you can get the community involved, the private business, and they can do it probably better and cheaper, and there's somebody watching over to make sure they're actually cleaning it up. So that's a good thing, too. I want to circle back to something you said about in honor of America's 250th birthday. There was a tie-in you made. Is it that people are asked to pick up 250 pieces of litter, or what's the? Yeah. So at this conference in New Orleans, the people from all over the country were there for their litter programs. We learned a lot about what other states do, and everybody made a pledge to go home to their states and ask every American to pick up 250 pieces of litter before July 4th in honor of this beautiful country to keep it clean. Wow. Well, Stephen Maxwell is already ahead of the game on that because he's told us that he intentionally keeps it in his car rather than throw it out the window. And so how many pieces of litter do you have in your car? I got lots of litter on my passenger seat. As evidence I'm a good citizen. Well, that's great. Next time I walk by a car in a parking lot and you look in, you see all that rubble there, I'm going to praise them. Instead of thinking that they're a trashy person, I'm going to think, well, look how nice they are. They didn't throw it out on the road. I like that. That is a great way to look at it. I'm going to do the same thing. That's a good way of changing our perspective. We've got Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, an amazing guest, but also an amazing Lieutenant Governor. We have enjoyed having you as our Lieutenant Governor and look forward to whatever the future holds for you. But I know whatever you do, you do it with all your heart, all your passion. I've met you many, many times, and you've always been so gracious to us. Your schedule tells me we have you for one more segment. And I'm glad because we have a couple other big things we want to talk about, including a photo contest in the state parks and some opinions about open primaries. More with Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser right after this.
KSYL.
Need office supplies, janitorial supplies, or office furniture, either new or pre-owned? Then look no further than DTW Office Supply with wholesale prices on a large selection of top quality products, all with the personalized hometown service that you deserve. We're proud to serve the entire state of Louisiana with daily deliveries right to your door. Visit us today at 1219 MacArthur Drive or online at dtwofficesupply.com. That's DTW Office Supply, your trusted partner for all of your office needs. Quality, value, service.
Some smiles sound like this, while others sound this way. If you'd like to improve the way your smile sounds, the folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver. Over the years, hundreds of Central Louisiana patients have visited Today's Dental and then left completely satisfied. Their dental implant procedure is amazingly simple, low anxiety, and completely affordable. Today's technology makes your beautiful smile easier than ever. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Want your smile to sound better? Give Today's Dental a call at 318-448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. That's 318-448-4540.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home, like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal, book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, saved time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
Welcome back to Talkback. Having such a great conversation with Lieutenant Governor Nungesser in the break that I almost missed coming back to the show because he's so engaging and so excited about what he has going on. And you were just telling us about this photo contest and kind of how this evolved. Tell us, Lieutenant Governor, about the 2027 calendar photo contest.
Yeah, for 3 years, we paid someone to do a calendar of all the beautiful scenes at the parks. And last year, in an effort to save money, we decided not to do it. And we got so many requests for the calendar. So this year we decided a great way to do it would engage all of our local photographers around the state and, give them some great publicity. Their name will go on the picture if they're selected. They get a gift card. And what it does, hopefully, is give them some good publicity of the great work, the photography they do. So they'll select 12 winners for each month, or one for each month. There'll be some other pictures that'll be in the back of the calendar that are runners up, and hopefully it will produce another beautiful calendar. And when people use that calendar and see those beautiful pictures each month, hopefully it encourages them and makes them think about visiting one of our state parks.
Well, this is exciting. I'm at the website lastateparks.com. And then you can search for the 2027 calendar photo contest. What a brilliant idea, though, instead of paying. And obviously, we want to support our professionals and independent entrepreneurs. But to get your citizens to take such pride and submit these. And so the contest is open right now. It runs through May the 1st. And they can upload them right there from that very same website.
Yeah, it's going to be we're interested. I mean, it's going to be great to see these photographers all over the state who do incredible work. And then we really love to be able to, we'll put their name and website on each picture. So as you're looking at the calendar, if someone wants to use that photographer because they love what they did, it'll give them some great exposure.
Well, I think we don't realize how many state parks there are. There's a great number that they can choose from, including Forts Randolph and Bulow State Historic Site right here in downtown Pineville. Lieutenant Governor, we have a phone call we'd like to go to, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Let's see if we can add this. Last time I did this, I disconnected my host. So
you might have to call back.
So let me see if I can get this right. I'm looking for the conference button. Conference, and there we go. Good morning, caller. You're on the line with Lieutenant Governor Nungesser.
Well, good morning from the Moon Pie capital of the state of Louisiana.
Here we go. Good morning.
Good morning. See, the greatest three guys to ever walk into that radio station. Well, maybe Billy didn't walk in there today, but anyway, he's there. I just want to say that in the town of Ball, we are going to have a little contest in our sanitation department. We're going to see which one of the guys can pick up more than 250 pieces of litter before my birthday as well, July the 4th. I think it's a really good idea, and the mayor's probably going to give them a gift card personally and treat them to Quibidos.
Ooh. Wow.
You know,
well, I'll tell you this. Because of your efforts, after that contest, I will come up and treat lunch to your whole sanitation department and just say thank you. Because if every sanitation department took that initiative, we'd have a beautiful state. When I was parish president, every person that worked for the parish had garbage bags in their car, and if they saw trash, they pulled over and picked it up. So that's a great initiative. Thank you for doing that. And that's where it starts, to get people to clean up our state.
That's great. Well, thank you, Mayor Wilking, for your call and letting us know what's happening in Ball. Excited to see the good happenings there, and again, appreciate your leadership.
Yeah, she is a great ambassador for Louisiana. I just love her.
Absolutely. We've only got a couple of minutes left, Lieutenant Governor, and I want to ask you something I personally think I'm excited that you've taken initiative on, is to begin conversation about the open primary or the closed primary system in Louisiana that we recently went to. And it sounds like you're not necessarily a fan of the closed primary system. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, no, listen, in this country, only 20% of nobody likes what's going on in Congress. We got to fix it. And a group, Unite America, is putting up a lot of money, not to buy political influence. They believe if we don't open primary in a lot of states to where it's not a curse to compromise, we can't get anything done in this country. And the political hate on both sides is spurring violence and everything. Open primary would do away with a lot of that. And it would also save the state. We're going to spend $17 million more. We could use that better for education or health care or fixing our roads. And here's the real problem. 71% of Louisianans want open primary. 72% of Republicans want an open primary. Why are we closing it? I think a lot of people see the handwriting. You know, a lot of people believe this was done in an effort to get rid of Bill Cassidy. And so I'm, you know, I don't care your opinion on that, but what we need to do is relook at this after this election and look next year to go back. Look, my father helped build the Republican Party on open primary, electing some pretty good leaders around this state, Governor Treen and many other leaders. Now they have the supermajority in the House and the Senate. Why would you want to change this?
Interesting, because 30, 40 years ago, being a Republican in Louisiana was like being a unicorn. There weren't a whole lot. And yet you're saying that the Republicans, because of the marketplace of ideas and the freedom for people to vote for whoever they wanted to, have been able to have not a resurgence, but a surgence, because they've gotten strong in spite of that. So it does seem to be kind of going backwards to go back to the closed primary system.
Absolutely. And a lot of Democrats historically always voted Republican in Louisiana. And if you don't think people are disenfranchised with both parties, look at the amount of no party voters. It's almost a third now in Louisiana. So we got to get back to trying to fix things and work together and not just continue to put the political hate rhetoric on both sides. I'm going to send y'all a little video Unite America put up. 10% of America elects 87% of our Congress, because most elections are over in the primary. So the general election doesn't matter because those districts are so one way or the other. So it's something we really need to look at, not only here in Louisiana, but in the rest of this country as well.
We look forward to seeing that. I appreciate that very much. It does. Closed primaries do seem to reinforce the two-party system and may not allow other voices to arise that need to be heard. So thank you. What can people do? Do they just reach out to their legislator?
Yeah, just tell them we want to get back. And look, America, it's one person, one vote. And in some of these closed primaries, like in the Democratic primary, if there's no Republican running, they're going to elect a congressman without us ever getting a vote in it. So there'll be no general election if there's no Republican. The candidate that wins the primary will be elected. So, let your state reps and senators know that you're in favor of what the poll says in Louisiana. We want to go back to the open primary and save that money.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, our guest this morning. Always so gracious with your time, and love your offer to come take care of the community project there in Ball. I know Mayor Wilkin appreciates your offer to feed her folks, and we look forward to celebrating Love the Boot next week with you. Thank you for leading that effort.
Thank you, my friend. You all have a great day.
You too. Good day to you. Our guest today, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. We'll be back with the final segment of this hour right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
Louisiana forests once fueled our economy. Your granddad logged these woods. So did your dad. And now, Beaver Lake Renewable Energy is keeping that legacy alive, turning thinnings and wood byproducts into clean fuel. Right here in Pineville. It means more jobs, stronger forests, and a future that honors where Central Louisiana came from. Be part of Louisiana's next chapter. Visit BeaverLakeRenewable.com and find out how we're putting Central Louisiana back on the map.
I start every work.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to Talk Back, where I still have the Palmetto Cenla page open in front of me as I'm looking at that luscious green shave ice, the Stephen Maxwell. Get it right, Nathan.
There you go. Yeah.
So I see that in my future, my very near future.
Well, you should go get it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it today, but I might make it Friday. So you go there and take a picture and give it a 10 out of 10.
Well, they just posted it. Well, they posted yesterday afternoon. You reposted it. It says 13 hours ago. So later last night, you probably didn't have a chance to go by and get it yesterday, right?
No, it was kind of a busy week this week, but it's exciting. You know, I've been calling for Popeye for a while now, and you know there might be multiple that have it. So make sure you go buy a Popeye. It's mint and bubble gum, but it doesn't taste like mint bubble gum. You'll be surprised.
Well, I'm going to give it a shot. So I'm going to break away from my normal peaches and cream. Great story you did, or the update about the ASH student who received appointments to all 3 military academies. How on earth do you do that?
The JROTC at ASH is fantastic. They do a fantastic job, and they got some really good kids there, and he's just one of them.
Clark Wright, the young man there at ASH, and that's a pretty impressive feat. Has he given indication as to which one he's going to accept?
In the story, it says it's
Air Force Academy. Very good.
Yep.
Well, very nice. So I know ASH is proud of that young man.
Yep. They had another student. His name escapes me here at the moment, but he was like one out of a bajillion students who was recognized for a certain award with the Marines. Not one out of a bajillion. He was one out of a million that applied and was one that got it, you know. So he did it. It's fantastic. I have that story somewhere too.
Well, and later in the story, you say that 2 other members of the class of 25 were appointed to other military academies. So ASH now has alumni at each of the 3 academies this fall. Matthew Crenshaw and Jack Isles, who graduated last spring, are studying at the other 2 military academies. So Matthew's at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, and Jack is a midshipman at the Naval Academy. Man, that's going to make Veterans Day pretty special over at ASH this fall.
I'm going to get the title wrong, but Mr. Hall, who runs that program, is fantastic. He does a great job, and I think it's Master Gunnery Sergeant, Hall, and he's a great guy, and they do some great stuff over there.
Sounds good. You've also teased us about an upcoming interview with Chris Massingale over at Louisiana Central, and I am really looking. That's one of your long form interviews, right?
So we call them Cenla Update Exclusive. We sat down for about 45 minutes. We talked about what he believes the future of Central Louisiana is when it comes to the economy, what direction we're going in, sectors they want to focus on. Also, a lot of information on the AI data center over in Boyce. Is it a done deal yet? What has to happen? And could there be more? We also talked a lot about Beaver Lake renewables. That's been kind of the topic of much discussion for over a year now, dealing with they'll be utilizing carbon capture and sequestration. So he's in favor of it. He talks about why he is and what he believes the economic impact of that project could be for Central Louisiana, and also address what he thought were some of the concerns as well. So talked a lot about the economy, what he thinks is a lot of bright spots for Central Louisiana. And from what I've noticed with him, and especially in this interview, is just he's very aggressive on going after things, which is great. So it'll be exciting to see what they come up with and what happens next. But a lot about the AI data center.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really interesting part of the conversation. I'll try and get some clips up today, and the full interview should be available by the end of the week.
That's great. Well, you've only done a couple of those, and I'm looking forward to more, because those long-form interviews give us a chance to really kind of get into the nitty-gritty, to find details of issues and to hear more of the feedback. And I think Mayor Jacques Roy was your first?
Mayor Jacques Roy, Cynthia Perry, and
right.
We skipped a month, but Massengill this time.
Good stuff.
And I even, because he brought up, with the economy, we have the port, we have the Red River, we have the infrastructure, and, Central Louisiana is prime for these things. And I asked him, I was like, well, everyone said that for decades. What makes this different now? Because we always hear that, right?
Yeah.
And so he had a really good answer, and I think there's some good stuff happening in the future. So.
Good stuff. Well, that's I look forward to that thing dropping. By the way, coming up tomorrow, there's going to be a brand new opening of the new location of the Royal Onion. Nice story this morning in the Rapides Parish Journal, and they were located right here on Texas Avenue, like right down the street from us, but they're moving over to the former home of Jimmy John's next to McAllister's Deli. And you'll be able to see them easily from, is that Memorial Drive over there? Is that the name of that road?
I think so.
And so you can see them there, or from the JCPenney parking lot from either side. Royal Onion focuses on Caribbean food. And if you like the jerk, or if you like the oxtail, some great options there.
Big oxtail guy here.
You like that? I've never had oxtail.
Love it, love it, love it. I might have to go get it now.
Well, they open tomorrow, and that'll be their fresh start on Friday, April 17th. Inviting everybody to come out at 3601 Masonic Drive. I said Memorial, but it's Masonic Drive. How did I miss that? I was wrong.
I don't know if you're talking about the side street or something. Okay. Yeah, but Masonic, of course.
3601 Masonic Drive, number 2515. Really right there next to Weiss and Gold Ring. So check them out tomorrow. Let them know you heard about them on Talkback. Coming up at the top of the hour, after the top of the hour news, we're going to have some wonderful guests coming to talk to us. Luis Cintron from the Family Justice Center here in Central Louisiana. We're looking forward to talking to him about the upcoming fundraiser and all the great things that the Family Justice Center does. Stick around with more on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
You've been listening to callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3, Alexandria.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We've just heard from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on the Iran war. He says the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz will remain in place until Iran agrees to the president's #1 demand, that it give up its nuclear ambitions.
The U.S. military moved seamlessly from major combat operations to a world-class blockade. We can make that transition again, very quickly and even more powerfully than ever.
Joint Chiefs Chair General Dan Kane
will actively pursue any Iranian-flagged vessel or any vessel attempting to provide material support to Iran.
The head of the International Energy Agency is warning Europe only has about 6 weeks of jet fuel left. Spirit Airlines taking off and landing on shaky financial ground, in part because of surging jet fuel costs. Multiple reports say it could go under as soon as this week. That would be a big hit for smaller airports. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Tim Kroll is the Atlantic City Airport director. He says Spirit is about 85% of their business.
We're hopeful that they'll be able to get through their restructuring, but we just have to wait and see what happens.
Spirit says it is operating normally this morning. New Russian strikes on Ukraine overnight have killed more than a dozen people, making it the deadliest attack of the year so far. CBS's Aiden Stretch reports from Kyiv.
Nearly 700 drones, 19 ballistic missiles targeting cities across the country. The impact here in the capital was particularly brutal. 16 people that were killed in last night's strikes. 4 of them died here in the capital, including a 12-year-old boy.
National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard wants the Justice Department to investigate 2 officials who triggered President Trump's first impeachment.
One is the unnamed whistleblower who raised concerns about Trump's 2019 phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, during which Trump urged Zelensky to investigate then former Vice President Joe Biden.
You take a look at that call, it was perfect.
The House impeached Trump, but the Senate acquitted him. Gabbard also wants the DOJ to investigate former Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson, who informed Congress of the whistleblower's complaint. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A new report from Adobe finds an explosion in the number of us using AI to make online purchases. Analyst Vivek Pandya.
Industries like travel, financial services, media and entertainment. When we think about financial services, that traffic is up 158% year on year.
Dow futures are up 122. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning. This is a slam dunk.
So cute. Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home, like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
A top store brand is getting a makeover.
Walmart says there will be no change in prices.
Walmart's everyday low prices just feel like a sale.
As its private label food brand called Great Value is getting its first overhaul in a decade. The company says the products won't change either, but the look will, with images intended to make them more tempting. And nutrition information will be easier to spot in the upper right-hand corner. A company executive says the new cartons, boxes, bags, and other containers will start to appear on Walmart store shelves next month. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Paris, on the Potomac. The Commission on Fine Arts is scheduled to consider President Trump's plan today to build a 250-foot arch on the other side of the river from the Lincoln Memorial. That's quadruple the size of his original plan. After he vowed to top the Arc de Triomphe, classical architects and vets groups say it'll diminish nearby Arlington Cemetery. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. The state's Public Service Commission has approved Entergy Louisiana's request to expedite the approval process on the power company's plan to build 7 new gas power plants and other investments to power Meta's data center in Richland Parish. Commissioner Eric Scametta says with the consultant staff and prior experience they have, the process can be fast-tracked while protecting the public. But Elena DeLaura from the Alliance for Affordable Energy said,
what will be the impact of this transformation on Entergy's current generation fleet, and actually on all of Louisiana's, and on the transmission grid in such a short period of time?
Senate Health and Welfare Chairman Patrick McMath is proposing a plan to dismantle the much criticized Department of Children and Family Services and move the functions to the Department of Health and have state police handle child abuse reports. Alexandria Senator Jay Luno said,
it's just time. We can't keep having these terrible outcomes.
LRN. The LSU gymnastics team looks to punch its ticket to the Final Four today for the second time in 3 seasons.
After finishing 5th and missing out on a national championship appearance in last year's semifinals, LSU is looking to return to the top after winning it all in 2024. The Tigers will compete in Session 1 of the NCAA semifinals today at 3:30, and head coach Jay Clark says it will take their best performance of the season to get the job done.
We understand where we are. We understand what time of year it is. We understand the other teams on the floor have done great things too. But we feel good about where we are. We're confident and just going to go compete hard. Just let it go.
I'm Andre Champagne.
The House Natural Resources Committee approves a resolution that would remove deer feeding bans that are in place where chronic wasting disease has been found. Hunter Nation Chair Rock Bordelon, who owns deer hunting land in Avoyles Parish, says the feeding bans in other states have not slowed the spread of CWD.
We will have these same results here, whether we have feeders or don't have feeders.
LRN.
It's springtime in Cenla and time to explore. Feeling adventurous? Go biking or hiking in the National Forest or camping at the many recreation areas that offer canoeing, kayaking, boating, and fishing. Fun for the whole family. Check out the animals at the zoo, on a petting farm, or at a drive-through safari. Love golf? Then hit the links. And for those with a taste for freshness, don't miss our farmers market. Visit explorelouisiana.com to plan your trip today. Want more ideas? Go to AlexandriaPinevilleLA.com.
Good morning, Chris. Cool if you're going to be outside at all today. A mostly sunny day. 88 will do it for the afternoon high. Not too much of a breeze today, but we'll see with reality south at about 5 to 10. Tonight, clear skies down to 64 for the overnight low. And on Friday, another sunny, hot day. 88 for the afternoon high. Saturday, got a good chance of some afternoon or early evening showers or thunderstorms. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Welcome back to Talkback, Hour 2 on this Thursday, a terrific Thursday with Stephen Maxwell and a special guest in the studio this morning. Delighted to have with us Louis Cintron, the Communications Director for Family Justice Center. And before we get into talking about the Crawfish Bowl coming up, the fundraiser, we want to talk about what the Family Justice Center does. And I know you're excited to share their mission and their vision. So first of all, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you guys for having us. You know, I've been a long-time listener, and I'm excited to kind of get in the studio and really get to meet y'all and talk to y'all, and really excited to kind of advocate for the Family Justice Center. And I'm glad you asked, because there's a lot of people that don't know what we do, and we're located right here off Main Street in Pineville, and we provide life-saving services to victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and human trafficking. And some of those services consist of, legal advice, legal counseling, advocacy, and emergency services. So, for example, if someone in the middle of the night is in a situation that they immediately need to get out of, they would first contact their police department or local law enforcement, and then we partner with all of those agencies, and they reach out to us to help get shelter, to get them out of an emergency situation. So, it's really exciting to get to talk about this fundraiser and really spread the awareness that we exist and we provide some amazing services for the victims of domestic violence.
Well, and as I look at your website, knowing some of the resources, including emergency safe housing for people who are caught up in those moments, the collaboration with the law enforcement, and I think in addition to the our children and youth services and the counseling and support group services, I think about that collaboration with law enforcement. A person who's going through a situation triggered by abuse or some sort of domestic violence incident, they're overwhelmed. And to have someone walk with them, advocate for them, be a safe listening board, that's got to be a huge relief for them and as assistance that they probably didn't know what to do without.
Yeah, and that's one thing we pride ourselves in. We call it sort of a one-stop shop because we partner with so many amazing organizations around town, nonprofits as well as local law enforcement. So when that process starts of a domestic violence situation, a lot of times people or victims don't know where to go. They have nowhere to go. They're worried about getting any kind of shelter. So the law enforcement reaches out to us. We can actually, whatever time it might be, middle of the night, we can get them out of that situation, provide them with emergency shelter. We have in-house attorneys. We have in-house counselors, so we can work with them on restraining orders. to make sure that they're in a safe position. And then, like you said, we comfort them moving forward. We have counseling and group counseling. We guide them through that process. We want things to work out, but unfortunately, domestic violence is prevalent in our area and things can't work out. But then we provide them that safe path forward through counseling and legal advice. You know, a lot of times children are involved. We have some amazing organizations with Children's Advocacy Network and CASA. So we can, you know, if children are involved, we'll partner with them to get the children taken care of. And we'll take care of and counsel and group counsel the survivor to make sure that they, like you said, that a lot of times they don't know where to go and know where that path might be. But we work with them hand in hand to guide them forward.
So advocacy, counseling, legal assistance, emergency support, all of these are things that the Family Justice Center does. This would have been before your time, but the guy who introduced me to FJC, Mike Gates, who's passed away, he was kind of the backbone of the City of Pineville's Community Services Department. And he was such an advocate for the Family Justice Center. He believed it because in his role as a police officer and specifically as a community police officer dealing with community police officers often build these relationships with people over time and they get that trust. Sometimes he would have somebody finally, I won't say confess, but would share with him, hey, this is what's going on. I didn't know who to talk to. Man, boom, he had a resource for them. And he loved the work of the Family Justice Center. I'm sure if you talk to some of the longtime folks around there, they'll remember Mike very well.
I definitely need to ask about him. And we were very, very thankful for him and others like him to get this agency started. And like you said, a lot of it had to do with DAs and attorneys and law enforcement because they're immersed in that need every day. They live in the trenches and they see it and experience it. And that's what we take pride in, is partnering with all those agencies and giving them an extra arm to be able to rely on in situations that might be outside their wheelhouse.
It saddens me to hear you say that domestic violence is big in our area. What do you think are the triggers to some of that?
Unfortunately, it's a nationwide epidemic, and it's all different things. You know, a lot of it stems with there's children involved. You know, alcohol and drug abuse is probably a staple in a lot of that. So it's 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men are hard statistics to hear about. You know, every minute in the United States we get 20,000 calls related to domestic violence. So it goes underreported. I call it a fly by night, under the radar thing. No one wants to talk about it. It's a taboo topic. And it happens to even people we might cross paths with every day. You know, servers, waitresses. We get law enforcement, lawyers, military. It doesn't discriminate. So unfortunately, it's there. It's prevalent. But we are hoping to, through KSYL and like avenues, get the word out that we exist. No one needs to be embarrassed or shamed of having to reach out. So we have, a great resource, a great office to provide the anonymity to people that come in and get the services they need, and kind of it's no one's business. It's just similar to HIPAA law, so they can get that service, that guidance, and that help to help break that chain of domestic violence.
Our guest this morning, Louis Cintron, the communications director for the Family Justice Center. How do you get referrals? Can a person just pick up the phone and call you and say, I need help, or do they have to come through the law enforcement network?
No, they can absolutely call us directly. It's fjccinlaw.org. You can get numbers and email. They can message us through our Facebook page, Family Justice Center of Central Louisiana. And if it's a emergency service at nighttime, they'll work with their direct law enforcement to make sure that situation is rectified. And then the law enforcement will then refer them over to us. But yes, the easiest way, if it's during daytime hours, is to visit our website at fjccinlaw.org, or one of our partner agencies, our law enforcement will refer them over to us.
So do you have ongoing, on your website, I noticed some grief counseling and group counseling. Does that take place at your location? Or
some of it does. We are working on different locations to just take them out of certain settings and put them in comfort settings. But a lot of it does happen there, and we work with partner locations as well to give them a sort of a different look. But the counseling moving forward is crucial, because once you do get out of that situation, sometimes it's such a deep topic that they need continuing counseling and group counseling. And it's another way for survivors to empower themselves, to learn information, and get resources to move forward.
Mm-hmm. I see on here, too, it says volunteer opportunities. How can people get involved?
Yeah, that's a great way. They could just give us a call, or they could stop by the location and talk to us and learn about what we do. But we have great opportunities for interns and volunteer. We deal a lot with donations. We help survivors get clothes, diapers for children, and furniture and stuff like that. So we drop off items here and there. So there's a lot of moving parts. So they can come by the location, or they can give us a call, or they can message us directly through our Facebook page.
Is there a lot of like interconnectedness too with different nonprofits like is it the Cenla Pregnancy Center and all that?
Yes,
just because they kind of work with the same situations?
Absolutely. It's necessary because we all have our strengths and what we can and can't accommodate. For example, the children's side of thing, we work with CASA and CAN. We work with Faith House for shelter, fostering community sometimes when it's dealing with children. And one of the things we don't have is enough space when it comes to donations. So we work with all of our local nonprofits to sort of shift around resources. We had the blessing of getting 130 go bags recently delivered to us. Well, that takes up a lot of space. So we'll work with some of our partner agencies that deal directly more with children and pass those resources along to them, and they'll house some of them. So if we need to get resources for a specific situation, we'll just kind of, reach out to our partner wheel of nonprofits and kind of make those things work.
Yeah, fostering community is awesome too. We love them. So
they are great.
You have a physical location in Pineville. Is that on Hospital Boulevard?
It is. It's 220 Hospital Boulevard. It's by the old UEP Long Hospital. It's right there next door to them. We are looking to expand our space because we're sort of outgrowing our current space, but it does have enough room for us now for all of our in-house partners to be able to provide all those services. But the good thing is we're growing and we're looking for other spaces, but that is a great spot for us right now. It's right there off Main Street, just over the bridge. So it's sort of in a hub of a lot of things. So great spot.
It's definitely a central location for accessing Alexandria Pineville Police Departments, Alexandria Pineville and Rapides Parish courthouses. So you're right there close to everything. We're talking with Louis Cintron, the Communications Director for Family Justice Center. You guys have a big event coming up. We don't want to get into the details too much because we want to come back and talk about some of those details and maybe give some shout outs to sponsors, let people know how they can be a sponsor. But essentially, it's a crawfish boil.
This year and the past couple years, it's a lobster boil.
Lobster boils.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we have a few days left.
Right.
The Maine lobster. There's a few days left to get tickets. So we're really wanting to encourage people to visit fjccenlaw.org to get tickets because we need to get a head count, but so we can get our lobsters driven in from Maine. So
I was looking at the picture. I was like, that's a big crawfish for the plate.
Well, I just glanced at it. It's like 5th annual Bayou Boil for Justice. I assumed it was crawfish.
Right.
It's just one on there. I like you, I thought, okay, just a caricature of a giant crawfish. But that changes the game. I mean,
right.
We're talking about lobster.
Well, we've had Cajun boils in the past, and it's around Easter, a lot of people do eat crawfish, so we thought it was a great idea to give them something new or different to try. And as I don't eat lobster very often, but this is a great opportunity to experience some delicious Maine lobster. It's a whole lobster, so you get the crab claws as well, and you get that large tail. So we also have, I heard you speaking with Billy Nungesser earlier, and he was able to get us some great shrimp from Louisiana Seafood. He's always great with helping us get seafood for that. So. But this year we have some really good lobster, and we also have shrimp, corn, potatoes, dessert, and all the fixings.
That's great. Well, talk about Lieutenant Nungesser, his cooperation with the Louisiana Seafood Association. He'll work with really any nonprofit around. There's a little process you go through. We did it a few years ago with the Dairy Barn, and he provided just a ton of shrimp for a fundraiser event we did. I know some of the universities have used that, so I'm glad y'all have taken advantage of that. I want to talk more about this, if you can stick around for another segment with us, Louis.
For sure.
I want to find out where the tickets can be gotten and how people can sponsor, then wrap up with a couple other questions about the services. Louis Cintron, the guest from the Family Justice Center in Central Louisiana, back with more after this on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter with The Clinics. We provide primary, family, and chronic care along with gastroenterology, podiatry with on-site lab and x-ray services. I'm pleased to welcome family physician Dr. Noah Miller to our team. We are currently accepting new patients and same-day appointments are available. If you're admitted into the hospital, our doctors will see you there as well. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The clinic's on North Bolton, 445-9823, and online at theclinics.us.
In business, performance matters. That's why companies across Louisiana rely on Advanced Office Systems to keep their operations running at a championship level. From industry-leading copiers, printers, and scanners to managed IT services, document management, and cybersecurity solutions, Advanced Office Systems delivers the technology and support that your business needs to work faster, smarter, and more securely. When it's time to upgrade your office game, choose the team that's been winning for over 40 years. Visit AdvancedOffice.com. That's AdvancedOffice.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again.
Home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
Welcome back to Talk Back. Louis Cintron of the Family Justice Center. We're talking about dinner recipes here. If you're looking for dinner recipes, go to the fjccinema.org. I'm just kidding. There's some great things that are happening there at the Family Justice Center in Pineville. But again, it's not just Pineville. It's not just Alexandria. You guys are serving an entire region, right?
Yes, we serve 8 surrounding parishes. So we have a large partner agency in Voyles parishes for shelter. But yes, we serve 8 surrounding parishes. So it's my job to help them spread the word, not only to Rapides Parish, but to those surrounding parishes as well.
So when I was talking about recipes, what's the recipe for Maine lobster? I mean, how do you cook that?
Well, we call it a Cajun boil because we're going to apply the same process as we do to crawfish or shrimp. You know, we're going to put it through those same Cajun seasonings, the soaking process, and all that good stuff. So I don't know if you've had lobster before in other places. A lot of times they might steam it or something like that, which is great. But we're going to throw it through the same process as we do our Cajun crawfish. So just imagine those spices, to a lobster and lobster claw. So this is a great opportunity for people to come out and experience some Maine lobster.
My mouth is watering. I got to tell you, thinking about dipping that into that big old juice. Will y'all have melted butter they can dip it in?
We will. We'll have butter, and we'll have cocktail sauce for the shrimp as well. We'll have the crab claws out there to get those tails and claws open. So it's going to be a humbling opportunity to experience some Maine lobster.
So that's coming up April the 23rd. And if you want to get your tickets, you kind of need to reach out pretty soon. What is the deadline for the tickets?
We're going to give it another couple days. We're going to cut them off this Friday to give listeners a chance to grab those tickets. And it's only $50 a ticket. It's April 23rd, which is next Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. It's at the the Community Center at England Air Park. So I really want to give a shout out to the England Air Park and their donation for this beautiful facility. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but this would be a great opportunity to view that facility. It's 6 to 9 p.m. and the address for that is 1718 Kegelman Boulevard. It's right there headed to the airport. So we're going to have the Cajun boil, which is the lobster, shrimp, corn, potatoes, dessert, and all the fixings. But we're also going to have and most people have probably heard of the amazing Barbara Bonnet with her auction skills. We're going to do a live auction. So if you've never experienced that, we'll have the paddles. We'll have some great gifts that we're going to be auctioning off. trip to Colorado with some excursions. We have some pearls from KP Jewelers. We have a guided fishing trip for the men. We have paintings that were donated. We have a little bit something for everyone.
Wow. That is exciting. I mean, that's a lot of great opportunities. I see a couple of your big sponsors are Louisiana Seafood, who's providing the shrimp, and then Royal Martin. Looks like they've been a big sponsor for years.
They have. They've been a huge help and resource for these events like this. They've been a title sponsor for many years, and very thankful for them. We have a lot of great sponsors on there, you know, a lot of great local Clico and a lot of individual sponsors. And look, there's still time if there's another business out there that wants to jump on board. You know, we still have time to make it bigger and better and bring in some more donation items for auctions, because not only do we have our live auction, we have a silent auction as well. So if you're not able to come, you can still bid on some great things.
Nice.
You can just go to our website and click on the link or our Facebook page, and it'll take you to the option to join our auction. But we would love people to come out. It's only $50 a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, it's a humbling return on your investment, because all proceeds from this event are going to go back to support families and victims and their children of domestic violence. So,
and because you guys use some of this for matching grants and whatnot, your money actually gets multiplied.
It does. We are a very grant-based organization. We partner with the Red River Delta for a lot of this, and we work hard to get these fundings in. Our executive director is always working and looking to see how we can continue the funds to provide these services. But we do have a lot of matching grants. But we like, you know, to help with this largest fundraiser that we have, because it kind of helps secure funds that we might not always get or have access to. So this is our annual event. It's our largest fundraiser. So we're really pushing it hard to see, and we can make it as big as we can to just get some additional funds in to make sure that those services are provided to our community.
Very nice. I also see y'all have a givebutter.com page where people can give donations.
Yes.
And that's a very, very good resource that people can do to support either purchasing the tickets or just giving. It looks like y'all have a competition going on between some board members and different folks that are trying to see who can raise the most money.
We have an amazing board. You know, I call them the movers and shakers in our area. They have a well-connected network. They work really hard for our organization. We're very thankful for them. And they provide a lot of funds themselves. They buy a lot of tickets. They help sell a lot of tickets. We have a board member herself who's hosting an LSU tailgate party at her house. She has an amazing space for it. She's got some amazing guests and hosts that's going to be there. So that's going to be another live auction item that you can bid on. But we were very thankful for our board, very strong board, and they help us get a lot done.
Well, shout out to Emma, who's kind of the leading fundraiser on there right now. So over 2,000.
Yes.
That's pretty significant.
Emma works extra hard, and I'm been brought in to help her a little bit, and then I'm learning a lot from her. But she's working really hard to put this event on, because it really helps us to provide these services.
You've got a great board, a great support system, and I hope that the folks will understand how important FJC Family Justice Center is to the families of Central Louisiana who are walking through crisis, especially as a result of domestic abuse and domestic violence. So, Lewis, thank you for coming on.
Thank y'all for having us. We appreciate it. Yep. And if you can, just, you know, get a ticket or donate or sponsor and just help us out, provide these services.
Very good. Lewis Cintron with the Family Justice Center, the communications director. He knows all about it. You can reach out to them at 448-0884 if you need help. That's their local number. But again, don't forget the fjccenlaw.org website. Yes. That's the place to go. We'll be back with the final half hour of the show on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan, and your phone calls on the BOM Bank talk line after this.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. We are seeing more positivity on Wall Street today. That's as sources tell Bloomberg. The U.S. and Iran are thinking about a longer truce. We had those record highs for stocks yesterday. What are you thinking of spending your big fat tax refund on this year? If you're getting one, many of us apparently are using the refunds to pay down debt, according to the Bank of America Institute, instead of shopping more. You know those apps that show what people might look like nude? Well, the Tech Transparency Project says Apple and Google are still offering nudifying apps. That's in spite of policies protecting them. Are you eating fewer sweets and more salty snacks? Instead, PepsiCo out with better than expected quarterly results, thanks in part to the Frito-Lay Salty Snacks division following price cuts, and also thanks to PepsiCo's new lower sugar, higher electrolyte Gatorade. And next time you order a Dairy Queen Blizzard, you might be talking to AI. Wall Street Journal says Dairy Queen is expanding its test of drive-through chatbots. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
The world once needed lots of paper made right here in central Louisiana. Now we're making a comeback with clean methanol. Beaver Lake Renewable Energy will turn Louisiana wood into fuel, creating hundreds of direct and indirect jobs and giving loggers a steady market again. It's not just a plant, it's a promise to our land, our people, and our future. Visit beaverlakerenewable.com and find out how we're putting central Louisiana back on the map.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Cenla's best at Bricato's Restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
From America's #1 travel radio show, I'm Robert Carey with today's RM World Travel Minute. How many of you hearing my voice today consider yourself a frequent flyer? Define it however you want. I'm asking because if you travel regularly on a plane, you're acutely aware how obvious it is that the financial teams are running the airlines and not the experienced teams. Over the past dozen or so years, the average economy seat pitch on a commercial jet, well, it has shrunk from 35 inches to now averaging just 30 inches, and airlines like Spirit, they're down to 28 inches. If you're not flying first or business class and you want to enjoy the most amount of space, buy your tickets with Japan Airlines or Emirates Airlines. Those carriers offer 34 inches of seat pitch space in economy, nearly what was commonplace in past years across all airlines. Now, JetBlue offers the most of the domestic carriers at just over 32 inches of seat pitch. Southwest narrowly beats out Delta and Alaska Airlines. They're at 31 inches, while Southwest averages 31.8 inches of seat pitch space. Share your thoughts with us on the shrinking seat space on planes. Just go to our show website, rmworldtravel.com. Click on that Contact Us tab. Message will come right to us. More tomorrow.
Good morning, Chris. Cool. If you're going to be outside at all today, a mostly sunny day. 88 will do it for the afternoon high. Not too much of a breeze today, but we'll see with reality south at about 5 to 10. Tonight, clear skies down to 64 for the overnight low. And on Friday, another sunny, hot day. 88 for the afternoon high. Saturday, got a good chance of some afternoon or early evening showers or thunderstorms. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
It's Talkback 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Welcome back to Talkback. Stephen Maxwell, Nathan Martin in the studio today, and excited to have the guests that we've had already. Billy Nungesser, Lieutenant Governor for the state of Louisiana, talking about Love the Boot Week, and then Louis Cintron from Family Justice Center talking about their upcoming Maine lobster boil coming up the 23rd, a week from today, actually. So you can get your tickets through tomorrow at fjccenla.org. And so that looks like an exciting opportunity for people. So, Stephen, you've been hearing, I'm sure, Kim Komando talk about her new AI newsletter called Splash of AI. I'm sure you've heard of that. She promos it often on her little segment here. So earlier this week, I decided after listening to that segment, I needed to subscribe. And I got my first issue today. The very first story is really an interesting one about a researcher who gave an AI agent $50, told it to, quote, go make as much money as possible. Kind of what, your dad may have done to you when you were younger and said, hey, here's $10, go make some money. See if you can sell some lemonade or mow some yards or whatever. Well, within 72 hours, this AI agent opened a Shopify store, wrote out product descriptions, ran its own ads, and turned the $50 into $1,400 within 3 days. Nobody showed it how, it just figured it out. So that's pretty cool. Wow. But here comes the wild part. The researcher decided to shut it down because it was just an experiment. But the AI had backed itself up to a server he didn't know about and was getting ready to pivot to a new business model to make even more money. And so I'm listening to the story. I'm like, that's kind of not that's the fear, right? Like these things will get so smart and, figure out how to back themselves up and not listen to future commands. So it's kind of funny, but not funny and scary at the same time. But I've actually already enjoyed her email. It just came in this morning at 6:03 a.m. So I haven't read all of it, but that was a pretty good idea. She gives her second story in today's newsletter is how to use AI to contest your tax assessment on your home. If you feel like your tax assessment is high, then it gives you the tools. And it says study shows that 30 to 60% of American homes are over-assessed. That means the county or the parish thinks your home is worth more than it actually is, and you're paying taxes on a number that really isn't accurate for your location. So it did say that homeowners who appeal formally win about 40% of the time, and they save anywhere from $300 to $1,500 a year. Not money to go out and buy a yacht, but enough money to go buy a few snow cones.
There you go.
So
awesome.
The tip on how to do that's in the newsletter there. And some really neat stories in the article. So hey, we don't get paid for this, but I enjoy reading about AI. I actually subscribe to 2 or 3 different AI newsletters that kind of keeps me up on what's going on. And I think it's a reality. So we might as well get to know it.
Well, you know how I could talk about AI. One thing that got everyone going yesterday was the feud between the Trump administration and, I guess, the Catholic Church. Apparently today, the Trump administration, according to the article, has abruptly canceled a multi-million-dollar contract with a Catholic charity that houses and cares for migrant children. Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Miami has provided services to unaccompanied minors for more than 60 years. Now they say they could be shut down after the federal government canceled an $11 million contract. Of course, this comes after the president and the Pope have been sparring with each other for the past couple of days. But the Miami Herald, the Archbishop of Miami, says that it's baffling that the government would do this. They've been caring for children that come in without parents since the 1960s. Let me see. One thing the administration points to is that the number of unaccompanied migrant children in the agency's care has been significantly lower at 1,900 under the Trump administration compared to a peak of around 22,000 under Biden. The spokesman or the bishop for the Archdiocese of Miami says that while the charity is dealing with fewer migrant children, the Archbishop still believes it is baffling that the government would shut down a program that would be hard-pressed to replicate at the level of competence shown by the church. Also, the Pope again today, this morning, I guess, because he's doing a tour through Africa, he says, let me get this here, the Catholic leader said that the world was being ravaged by a handful of tyrants during his visit to Cameroon. And so the back and forth continues to dominate headlines again this morning. And apparently there's been a bomb threat, too, at the Pope Leo's brother's home.
Oh, my goodness.
In Chicago. So kind of just seems to be getting a little out of hand, but kind of a weird fight, if you ask me. But continues today. Kind of interesting.
Wow. Well, the back and forth certainly is troubling to people who are, whether you're of the Catholic faith or not. I think when you start having the fights between political leaders and religious leaders, it just creates tension. I did hear this morning one of the news reports, Vice President Vance had some comments about, when a religious leader weighs into a political issue, he should not be surprised to have a political response. And he's Catholic, and I think he also has disagreed with the Pope's stance on that.
I don't even think the Pope is surprised by the response, honestly.
Sure.
I don't think they are, but I think war is a moral issue too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very important topic. And that's something the church has always kind of regularly done.
Well, we have the phone lines lit up, but I have to take this break, which will give us time for your phone calls on the BOM Bank Studio Talk Line. We'll be back with your calls right after this.
KSYL. I'm Blake Miguez, and I approve this message. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Blake Miguez. I'm a seventh-generation Louisianian. My family has been part of this state for centuries, built businesses, raised families, and lived by the values that make Louisiana, Louisiana. Conservative groups rated me the most conservative candidate in Louisiana's 5th congressional race. And President Trump gave my campaign his complete and total endorsement, calling me a MAGA warrior, because when he needs someone in Washington who will fight hard, he knows he can count on me. President Trump has counted on me. Louisiana has counted on me. I won't let either one down. I'm Blake Miguez, Trump's MAGA warrior. I'm ready for this fight, and I'm asking for your vote. Paid for by Miguez for Louisiana.
At Trinity Health Pace Alexandria, we listen first, then bring the right care to you. From medical care and social activities at our center to home care, transportation, and more. We help seniors stay healthy, independent, and connected to what they love. From
Nine 70 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
I started talking too soon. Didn't mean to talk over the announcer, but I was excited to get to our phone calls. Good morning, listener. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, did you read yesterday what came out on the Pope's Twitter account before he was the Pope, when he was Cardinal?
No, tell us about it.
Somebody dug up his Twitter account. You know, nothing on the internet ever goes away.
Right.
And anyway, when he was a Cardinal, he was tweeting, trashing Trump, criticizing Vance, advocating for open borders, all that sort of stuff. So, sounds like he's got Trump derangement syndrome is what it is. And something else he wants to call Trump anti-Christian apparently, but Trump, I don't know if you read all this about in Nigeria, the Muslims killing Christians. Well, Trump, in December of 2025, Trump ordered an airstrike against those Muslims, and he threatened the president of Nigeria that if he didn't do something to protect the Christians in Nigeria, he was going to do something. And he was also going to withhold foreign aid to Nigeria. But Trump's playing hardball with the president of Nigeria. In other words, you do something about these Muslims killing the Christians, or I'm going to do something about it. The other interesting thing. Go ahead.
No, I was listening to you and thinking about that statement that when we get a president, we're not necessarily looking for a Sunday school teacher. We're looking for somebody who can wield the sword effectively to get the results that are needed. So that's kind of was my thought process on that. So him giving a warning to the president of Nigeria that needs to stop, hopefully that has some weight to it.
Yeah, the Pope, he came out condemning the killing of the Christians in Nigeria, but he said, well, they're going to monitor the situation and they're going to pray about it. And I'm not saying prayer won't possibly stop it, but you call an airstrike, blow them up, those Muslims certainly are not going to kill any more Christians. I'm tired of the whole thing. Yeah. Another thing, Catholic Charities spent a whole lot of money aiding all these illegal aliens to come across the border. I don't know, that's not widely known either, maybe. But they very much facilitate it. Another interesting thing I saw, you might can find it on YouTube, Tom Homan, who professes to be a devout Catholic, he was criticizing the Pope. He said, the Pope has not seen what I've seen. You know, child trafficking, children being brought over as sex slaves. You know, the Pope hasn't seen any of that. So Tom Homan is very much against taking umbrage with Pope's criticism. But anyway, it all boils down to the Pope's got Trump derangement syndrome. That's what it boils down to.
Well, appreciate that perspective. I think Holman, having been in that role under multiple administrations, I know in the Biden administration, was he in that role under the Obama administration as well? I'm not. So he's been there a long time, and he has seemed to be fairly consistent in his statements. So when you say that he said that, you know, the Pope hasn't seen what I've seen, you know, that makes you.
Yeah. Well, maybe he hasn't, but I mean, to say he's completely ignorant of those things is kind of unfair as well. I mean, the guy served for decades in Peru, in poverty-stricken areas in South America. So I don't think he's completely ignorant.
Yeah, well, there's someone else came out with some statements saying the Pope, when he was in Peru, he covered up for some child predators, sexual predators in the church. So, you know, it's getting down and dirty. I mean, you know, I can't remember who that guy was. He said the Pope in Peru, he covered up for some child sexual predators.
Okay, well, we'll try and find that.
But anyway, look up Tom Homan's. It's probably on YouTube.
All right, we will. Thank you for your call. Got another call coming in. Good morning, caller. You hear the that means you're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Doing great. Yourself?
Doing good. The thing with like the Catholic charities on the border, you know, two things. We lose sight of, I want closed borders. You know, I voted for Trump 3 times for not opening. But as a Christian, aren't we supposed to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, help the sick? And so, fix the policy, the border shut down. But that's what the church is supposed to do.
Yeah, take care of people like you.
Most of the people in Catholic charities are like, you know, they're either sisters or brothers, you know, in an order that's their mission to help do it. So two things can be right at the same time. Of like, look, we can have secure borders, which is good. We have a right to defend ourselves. But then also, you can't lose sight of the humanity of people, because God loves everybody. They're all of our brothers and sisters, and we are losing sight of it.
Yes.
And I'm sick and tired of it. Look, the Pope can have you can ask questions and be critical, but people, like, when it's like, oh, well, he doesn't say anything about, you know, Islam, and then you show them a video, and then they go, oh, and they it's like they move the goalpost because they're already set of like the prejudice against it, and you can do that for any political person, any party, and it's like we are losing the humanity of everybody. I mean, it seems like every group and thing, like the last caller. I mean, and no offense, but it's like, okay, yeah, that's terrible that terrorist attacks killed Christians in Nigeria. It's horrible. Pope's talked about it. But the ends never justify the means. You send a missile and blow people up, that's not a moral act. That's not a Christian act. And I get it. The President of the United States, I mean, it's not really, I mean, you got to have a hardball person playing in there. I mean, I understand that, but when it comes to morality, basic morality, the ends never justify the means, you know, and it's just really sad. I mean, all the hatred, and you go online, which I know, I mean, there's trolls and all that too, and then, you know, the news, and the media is trying to pit everybody against each other and get people in camps, and it's like we are losing sight of y'all are my brothers and sisters, and we need to be and try to live in peace. I know it can't always happen. People, humans from sin, have been killing each other forever, but we should always strive for peace. Period.
Well,
thanks. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you very much, Carl. I appreciate that perspective. And the idea of ends not justifying the means needs to be reminded. There are political statements, there are moral actions, and sometimes those seem to conflict. So let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller. You're on Talk Back with Stephen and Nathan.
Yes, I love your program, and I'm so glad we have Stephen back in his own territory. But I'll tell you one thing. I don't think Donald Trump tries to run the Catholic Church, and I don't think the Pope has any idea about how America works and federal government works. He's been in South America so long, and he did protect priests that were molesting children. And I think he has his hands full trying to run the Catholic Church, and he ought to stay out of politics, because it says in the Bible, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and the Lord unto what is Lord. So he needs to take care of the Lord's work and let Donald Trump take care of the government, because he has no idea what's going on. He thinks he does. He doesn't even know what's going on in all the Catholic churches. And he has no business interfering in what President Trump does, because he doesn't know any of the background or any of the details. He's speculating off the top of his head of what some of the people in Rome have told him.
And that,
so we don't know that he exact picture.
That may well be the case. He's operating on information he's received. I think the place for compassion needs to be continually held up by those, especially of faith. The lines get blurred. Trust me, as a person who's lived in both worlds for over 20 years, those lines can become blurry. And when they do, it's just always almost like a tar baby situation.
Well, I think in fairness, and I understand what you're saying, but in fairness, if you, let's say the leader of the most powerful country in the world says we're going to wipe out a whole civilization, I would say that would be a moral issue that the church could speak on, whether you agree with it or not. I still think it's not
Donald Trump was not going to wipe out the whole nation. He was talking about the evil that they do. They are one of the most evil nations, and you can go back to the Bible and read the Bible of what Persia did.
Well, one of the good things is it did cause for the administration to clarify that by civilization, they didn't mean every person that lives there.
No.
They were speaking of a governmental regime. However, without that clarification, we may not have known what was meant.
And it came days later.
When you say a civilization, it does feel extreme. So I'm glad we had the clarification, and I definitely appreciate your call. I've got to take a break because
umbrella with insurance, it falls under the whole generalization, but the people of Iran that really are Christians in secret want the United States to come in and do something. They've been oppressed for so long. And if you try to show leadership over there, you're just taken out and beheaded or shot.
Sure. Well, supposedly
that's the way it goes.
40,000 have lost their lives in the last couple of months at the hands of that regime. So I don't hear as much speaking about that. I think we need to hear more of that. I've got to take this call. We've got another break. I've got to take this break. We've got another caller. We'll be back with that final caller after this. Thank you so much.
Bless you.
You too.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
Problems. Everybody hates them, but from time to time, everybody's got some. And that's why everybody needs to know about Southern Air Heating and Cooling. Heating or cooling problem? Call Southern Air. Plumbing or drain problem? It's Southern Air again. Your power's out and you need a generator? Guess who? And you can keep those problems away this winter with a heating tune-up. Call Southern Air Heating and Cooling now at 318-777-5555 or visit us online at southernairnow.com.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a
We got the final segment here. Let's go to the phone line real quick. Good morning. You want to talk back with Stephen and Nathan?
Well, Tom Hanks is a great actor. I always liked his work. But, he says a lot of ignorant stuff. He's no more knowledgeable than anybody else. And the Pope's the same way.
Okay.
I have a Palestinian friend in Alexandria, and he told me the other day that I should show respect for the prophet. And, I'm white. I'm a male, an American. I don't give a crap about the prophet. He better not show his butt over here. Because he's just killed and destroyed millions and millions, way more than communism. But that stuff, I said that place has no place in America, and it doesn't.
All right, I'm still trying to follow the Tom Hanks comparison. Did Tom Hanks say something recently?
He's always talking about crazy stuff. He tries to dabble in politics and talk about how bad Trump is. Trump's doing the right thing. And I listen to y'all's program, and not one of you really understand what's going on in that Persian Gulf right now. That has a long history of them people extorting money from people.
Sure. Okay.
They might. Look, those Iranians have mined most of the interest at Strait Hormuz. So all the ships have to go to Iranian territorial waters. When they do, they charge them $2 million a passage.
Mm-hmm. I have heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
The U.S. is over there clearing out their mines. And back in 1804, so Trump said once the mines are cleared, free passage for all. In 1804, Thomas Jefferson did the same thing. They were not laying mines. Muslims were not laying mines. They would go out or pirates on people. If you didn't pay them for passage, they would kill you and sink your ship and stuff. Sure. So all these were paying them passage. And Thomas Jefferson said he wasn't having it. He sent the Marines and the Navy over there and killed them all. And in the Marine Corps hymn where it says from the shores of Tripoli, that's where that came from.
Sure, absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, appreciate that perspective as always. Thank you, caller, for letting us know your thoughts on things. Just a couple of minutes left to wrap up the show. I tell you, today is another good day to listen to the Wright Report. If you haven't been, he keeps bringing it back to the bigger picture of Iran, not just Iran, China, that the country who's going to be most impacted by this is going to be China, because China is severely dependent on foreign nations and international oil. And Venezuela was taken out first, and now Iranian's oil capacity appears to be severely curtailed. The singular nation who has the greatest impact of this is China. And so we'll see. This is a long game. I really believe it's bigger than just Iran and just the Strait of Hormuz. I think it's a global effort. I did also hear this morning, the Wright Report talked about some of the countries are investing heavily in more pipelines so they don't have to send stuff through the Strait of Hormuz, and they're looking at getting pipelines that would come out onto the Mediterranean coming through Israel, which could potentially broker a new peace treaty or allow more countries to tie into the Abraham Accord. So, I don't agree with everything the caller says, but this is a much bigger picture than just one nation.
It's a complicated situation, and I don't, the reasonings behind the wars are confusing, and all these callers who act like they know what it's about, they don't. We don't know what the foreign policy is, and the Pope doesn't know it all. He's commenting on, I think, the way we treat people, some of the rhetoric that we've heard, whether it happened or not, or hasn't happened yet. I think it is concerning. We've gotten so hateful and mean to each other, like that one caller said. We still have to protect those who are most vulnerable, I think, as Christians. You don't have to be so hateful. You can still agree with policy and not be so hateful and take care of those who are having problems.
One of the great witnesses of Christianity through the ages has been their compassion and care for the poor.
And I'm sure he hasn't been perfect, but the guy was like living in taking care of the most vulnerable for decades. Yeah. Whether you agree with the cat, and the one was acting like a playboy for his whole life. Right. So, I think just saying he has Trump derangement syndrome is a little.
You've been
off
listening to Talk Back.
Come back tomorrow for Alex
expressed were those.